Okay, hello. We're interviewing Nneka today. Welcome, Nneka. Hello. I think you're a thoughtful, soulful artist, personally, and that's why I wanted to interview you here. And I just wanted to ask you, first of all, about your US release, Concrete Jungle.
Yeah, Concrete Jungle was released, I think, a year ago. Yeah. It's a collection of all the basically 2 albums I had done before last year. I basically chose a couple of songs from the first album called Victim of Truth, and from the second album, No Longer Is, because I still felt connected, or I still feel connected to those songs emotionally, and I thought it was for me to be able to get my message across in the US, basically bring them to the same level of basically the same level of where I am in Europe or in Africa. I kind of like put those specific tracks together on that album, and I also included three new tracks that I had not released before that.
Right.
Tracks that I kind of also specifically did for that release.
Yeah.
US release.
So it's kind of like a wake-up call, saying, "Hey, US, this is me." A composite of both of the first and
it's quite
second
difficult
album.
to get into the American market, so
Yeah.
that's why I had to do that kind of a crash course album package for them.
How did you find the US tour?
Well, we've toured a couple of times.
Yeah.
I think we've done three different Nneka tours. Then we've toured with Nas, Damien, Mali, as well as the Roots. It's been very inspiring, at the same time also very slow, tedious, because the US is a very big place, and
huge.
for you to be able to conquer that market or continent, you really have to do a lot of work and toil a lot.
Right, yeah. So lots of hard work in comparison to Europe, where people, and Africa, where people know you. They know Nneka.
Yeah.
To some extent. Yeah.
To some extent.
I wanted to talk to you about conquering and the creative process of how do you produce a track like the Uncomfortable Truth or Heartbeat. How do they come to life from page to stage? What's the creative process for you?
It differs every time. It's different with every track. At times I have a melody. That's actually very rare that I have a melody first. I think up till now, ever since I've been doing music, I've had only one track where I had a melody without words, and that was the track called Valley. That's the track that made it to this present record. Soul is Heavy.
Yeah, Soul is Heavy.
Yeah, and other tracks, for instance, I have my guitar, I improvise, and then the words come eventually, or sometimes I even have the words first, and then I start creating the melody and the music around.
That's cool. And I know that you sort of search through different genres, and it's to me your sound is really like a joining, a unity of many different influences. And I want to ask you, are you going to do a straight hip hop album, or because there's a lot of sort of tracks you have some sort of hip hop influences?
Yeah, I'm not very rational about my music.
Yeah.
I'm more of a person that goes by heart and how I feel at that very point in time. It has a lot to do with my state of mind.
Yeah.
So everything I do is not. It's not like I sit there and say, well, I want to talk about this topic, or I want to talk about corruption or spirituality today. It all comes naturally, and if I feel like it's an up-tempo thing that I'm into in that moment, then I go for an up-tempo. But hip hop has always been sort of a fundamental basis for my creativity, and it always sort of is always there in my music.
Yeah, so ever present. I think it's also, I think what you said there was very interesting in the way that you talk about how things come organically. I think that's very important in terms of a career, and I wanted to just ask you, how do you stay consistent? You know, okay, you get organic ideas. How do you stay consistent when lots of artists come and go? Because,
well, since I'm still doing it, I'm still doing my music, consistency, that's a good word. Who defines consistency?
right,
Is it, yeah, that's the thing.
exactly,
You know?
yeah,
From a viewer's from a viewer or a listener's point of view,
yeah,
they would always kind of
try and put you
into a
Right.
box, and then if you don't sound like the previous album, or if you try and do something else, then you're not consistent.
yeah,
As far as I am concerned, it's important that you love what you do,
yeah, so it comes from here,
and that is the only way for you to be able to survive this whole business and so-called consistency.
right, okay, yeah, it's interesting you said that, because I know from, you had an experience at the Mobile Awards, you won a Best African Act at the Mobile Awards, congratulations on that.
Thank
And
you.
one interview I saw, you said that the surroundings was quite alien to you. Would you still do you still feel that sometimes around you, the music industry is quite alien?
Oh, definitely. I think that is what actually triggers me to do what I'm doing, because I feel like I'm from a different place.
It's good to be like from a different place. I mean,
Yeah, I hope so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, well, I think that for me personally, what I like about your music is because it's coming from such a range of places, and I feel from my experience, I mean, my dad is Jamaican. I'm born in London. We have this mixture of cultures in London as well, and I feel that that has an influence on my life. And I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about your mixed heritage, and how has that influenced your music and your life as well, just beyond the music?
Well, I grew up in Nigeria, and I grew up strictly Nigerian.
Okay.
That time, I mean, growing up, I didn't get to know my biological mother, so I kind of had to, after 20 years, I then had the opportunity to leave Africa and get to know the other side, and that's when I actually found myself. I got to know who I am, my identity, what I like, what I do not like. I had the chance and the opportunity to decide,
Right.
you know, and also embrace a different culture. And I think that is where I then gained the freedom to be musical, creative. Music was always in my mind when I was in Nigeria, but it was never, I never really had that, you know, space and freedom to realize it, you know, or make it
Tangible, something
tangible.
real. Yeah.
Exactly, make it real.
Yeah.
And I think embracing the German culture, or getting to know Germany, Europe, getting to know my mom to a certain degree, kind of helped me, become musical.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it does. So in the end, we can say yes. Yes, it does have an impact. As in, my heritage does have an impact on how I see the world, and I mean how I see the world as a person, and musically as well as spiritually. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's great. And just want to ask you just a few things about your image, if there is such a thing. Do you see yourself as a symbol for anyone, or obviously you have a lot of fans, and what sort of symbol do you think you would like to represent for them?
That's a good question. I think that's the first time I ever had that kind of question.
Thank you very much.
Image, well, image. I never really.
I know you're the kind of person that I can see, you know, from what I've seen and heard, the kind of person who doesn't really think about that as it's an organic thing.
Yeah.
But obviously, you know, your fans, you have people who look up to you in that sense, and you think you represent something. What do you think? What would you like to represent for them? If that makes sense.
Passion.
Mm-hmm.
Simplicity. I'm not that simple though. Yeah. How easy life can actually be. We make things really complicated. It could be much easier. I represent. I want to represent.
Right.
Passion in pure form. You know, don't be afraid to connect to yourself. Don't be afraid to be yourself. Just be.
Yeah.
Just be free.
I think that's a strong message for anyone, you know, like young teenagers who are caught up in a world of multitude of things influencing their lives, throwing things at them, and they don't quite know where they are. But if you experiment and you can just be, then it's so much more pure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I want to just ask you one more thing. Do you have a message for your fans in the world and globally?
Yeah, I've actually already said it.
Yeah? Okay, I sure already said it. Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Alright, cool.
Nice one.
Thanks. Thanks so much.
You.
I really appreciate it.